So we have a card for Maya. So the file is opened. I think this comes with a rendering file. I hope so. Maybe let me just go to my Arnold, open Arnold render view, and it's this invalid syntax. Oh, yeah. Does it comes with the default render setup? I guess when you render, are you all getting this output similar like this? No? Yes, no. Do you all get lighting like this? Yes, please give an answer, only then I can tell you what to.
Just a minute, sir.
Yeah. No, right? Or yes, anything is fine. Yes, kindly someone let me know, when you render this, do you get an output like what you could see in my screen, or it's a different one?
It's like in a screen, sir.
Yeah, just like mine, right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Now, at the left side of your screen, you could see there's a look development sky dome light. Look dev sky dome light in your outliner. So when you select this in the outliner and you go to the attributes settings, there you can find the intensity. You can just bring down the intensity to 0. Once you bring down this intensity of the sky dome light to 0, then when you render your scene, you may get nothing, because we just blocked the sky dome lights default lighting. Okay. So from here we can start. So when you go to your panels, we have a perspective camera, which is too bad. It is under the perspective camera, and we have a look development camera. So this is one look development, and from this look development camera, I just wanted to I want to set this as my render view. Okay, so maybe I can just do like this. Will be fine. Anyway, I just fill this area. I focus on this area. Then I go to my panels perspective. Then I switch to my perspective camera now, because this look development is only for rendering, and we'll be working in the scene using the perspective. Yeah, great. That people I will be work on. Anyway, our camera will be like this, right? So I had to put a background on this area, So let's create a curve. Go to curve surfaces, take an EP curve. Then I go to my I go to my side view. Let me draw a curve. Right click, go to control vertex, select this, bring it here, select this, bring it straight. Select these three, press R, you can scale them down. Then I can just move them here like this. This would work. And here I don't want a sharp edge, sharp end. So I want this to be a soft end here. That's it. I draw a curve there. Then I go to my perspective view and let me just move one here. Control D, move one here. So now I've got two planes. Now select the first curve, then shift select the second curve. I just position at the back of the car. Then let me go to my surfaces and a loft. So once I give a loft, you get the surface like this, and you could see the one side is a good color, and the other side you have a black. So please do select the model, go to your surface menu, and there you can find the reverse direction. Under the surface menu, you can find reverse direction. See surface menu and reverse direction. So once I give that, then you can get a good solid shader at the front of the camera. Yeah, that's one. And look at here. This is where our camera is focusing on. This is our look development camera. You can see at the right side when you select the camera, it says look development, and also you can select. You can verify from the left side. It says look development from the outliner, which means you are in the proper area. So if the camera angle is in this way, then I should rotate this viewport. Maybe I can select the viewport and press E. I could just rotate the viewport here in this way. So that will be fine. Maybe I could just move this a little up. Okay. After we did this, I think we had to uh, check and scale down or up three models. Let's see. I think the three model is too big because look under the car. We have this color offset. And the three model is too big here. Let's see. Before I go further, I just want to know, you guys, have you done up to this? Is everything okay? You have any questions for me? Okay, now. So first I need to select all the car models and I have to put them inside. Oh, seems I have two car inside. No. What is? Oh, inside the car. Okay. Now, just a minute, guys. Okay. So let's go to the outliner here, and we have all the car shapes in the outliner. I think I select everything about the car from the bumper rear outliner till the trunk bed. From the bumper till trunk bed, I hold my shift and I select. Okay, I think these are all the parts of the car. You can just select and move them also. Yeah, and mostly I just select the models and I delete them. No, you don't do it. I just delete the models, so I could come to know, okay, is that the model selection or did I delete something else? Then once I find, okay, it's perfect, then I press undo and bring the model back. That's my bad habit. I don't ask you to follow that, but if you wish, you could. So this is sometimes it that would make me because there are two clumsy models. When there are too much models flooded on the scene, then I would do that. Thank God undo was there, unless I'll be chaos. Okay, now after this, I just hit Control G, grouping, Control G. Then I can just type it as a car. Okay, that's it. And if there's anything, I can just scale this down or I can scale this up. So we guys did it. Now, the next thing is, let me go to my hypershade. and load the materials, load the missing materials. I think this is a model which is downloaded from the internet. So all the materials were already there. Let me just go to my hypershade here. Okay. You should click here to activate that. I think you guys know that. And here in the hypershade, maybe I can just increase this size here so you guys could see that. Yeah. So the first we have, let me press 6 to see whether my shaders or textures are loaded. I press 6 in the scene. Okay, nothing is loaded. So let me just go here. We have the first material, which is generic badges. I just click the material on the right side. I could see an attribute of that. I click here. Then it says generic badges.diff. So I think this is the file I should load. Let me click the folder now. It says generic badges. If you go there, which is the file I shared, there is a texture folder. Go inside the texture folder. There you can find the texture generic badges underscore diff. Sorry, underscore diff. It's a diffuse map. So they just named it as a generic badges diffuse map. So click here now. Okay, now look at that. So once you apply, once you map for the material, then the entire folder would be mapped and get the textures there. Okay. Okay. So with this being done, I'll go to my panels. Now perspective, I go to my look development. So this one look development camera. I think this is fine. Let me, but we have not added any lighting in the scene. So let me just go to my Arnold lights, area light. Let me create an area light. I bring the light here, press R and scale the light. And I want to light from this side of the scene. So let me just go here. And the intensity of this light, set the light, go to the light shape. The intensity of this light is 1, and beneath you can find normalize. You should disable the normalize. You know why? So when I close this hyper shade and open my render view, and when I click render, now you could see the render now. Yeah, you see that the object is there, but the lighting is not happening, which is because we have a light here, whereas it's normalized the light. So let's, before that, increase your exposure. Okay, now increase exposure to, but still I can see the lighting there. Okay, now turn off the normalize. Great. So once you turn off the normalize, you can see the light there. Yeah, it's working fine. Guys, this is the look development camera, not a normal camera. Whereas we're working on the perspective camera here. Okay, so that is light. So let me just increase the intensity to 1.5, and let me increase the exposure a little bit. Maybe I increase my exposure to yeah, 4. I just increase exposure to 4 and intensity to 1.5. Okay. Now the other thing I do is, let me just duplicate this light. So this is a fill light. I would say this is a fill light, because let me just name this as fill light. Oh God. By LL underscore LIGHT. I named this as a fill light. Let's hit Control D again. So since before, since this is a fill light, I don't want this to emit any shadows. You see that there's a shadow here and there's a shadow here. See that? I don't want this fill light emit any shadows, so I disable the shadows. So how to disable? Just disable the cast shadows. Cast shadows in the sense to emit shadows. That's what cast says here. So once you disable this checkbox, then the cast shadows will be off. Then it won't emit shadows any. So in cast volumetric shadows, disable that too. It's done. So let's hit Control D. Now this new light, it will be a fill light 2. Control D, you'll get a duplicate, but it remains in the same position. So I just named it. Now let's press W and move this to the opposite side. So just go here, the light, then rotate the light. Okay. Now the same light we just used here. So both the lights have the same intensity, and the exposure is exposure value of 4. Maybe we can bring down the exposure, but let's not hassle things up. Let's go further and look what is. So this is one light here at the side. Now let me duplicate this same light, Control D, and I'm going to put this at the front. So I'm going to put this at the front light. Just name it as a front light for my understanding. I just named it. Look at this. Let me rotate this light. Not from the top. From the top we need to emit this light from the bottom. So let me rotate this light a little, facing upwards. Yeah. Now bring this light to the front here. Here, this is since the light is much close to the 3D model, and I don't want this to be this much bigger. Maybe I could scale it down a little, not too much. And I don't need this to emit the exposure of 4. Let's bring the exposure from 4 to 0.5 or 1. That will be fine. You can just adjust the light. However you feel you can get the proper lighting, you could adjust it in the way. Just push in 3 lights here. Let me save these files. Files they've seen as. Let's go into the car model. Car, this is LR2 class. So LR2. Just save this file. Do this. So you guys have any questions? Do this. Okay, now see from the top view, I'm just showing you. We just created 3 lights bar, all of the same intensity values. 1, 2, and 3. We just positioned it. Okay, according to the car's position, we just positioned the lights here. Okay, and this is a bad one because look at here, the foam material is applied for the car tire also. That's too bad. It shouldn't be like that. Yeah, and we will change them. Don't worry. Then it's emitting too much of light at either sides, so I can bring down But before we go further, let's create a key light now, because we are having only fill lights here all the way. So where would be the key light? Key light would be on the top. So let's select any light, Control D, and move it here, position it on the top. Let me scale this light. Okay, and for this light, I'm going to reduce my exposure from the top light. I'm going to reduce my exposure to 0.4 or 5. That will be fine. I could decrease my intensity also a little, because since the light is, when you scale the light, you will get too much of intensity and exposure there. Okay, so let's go to 1.5 or something. And the problem with this, not only with the key light, it's also with the other lights. When you look at the other lights, they are having too much of light energy there. So look at this. I can just move the top light, the key light here and there. So find out which position of the light you get a good light shade. Okay, it's up to you. You can decide which one you wish to get from. You can even rotate the light, get the light shade properly. Okay, you can do that. However you wish, you can rotate the light and position it as you wish. You can even position it a little above to get a soft shade, a soft lighting spread everywhere on the object. Let me just get this right. And there's also another thing, which is when you go to the lights, the key light, please scroll down. That you can see light shape is there. Light shape is quadrangle now, just a quadrant. So click here and choose a cylinder. Once you click and you got cylinder, you will get lighting will be there. This will be a different experience you may get when you work with the cylinder lighting, because the cylinder lighting would be like, it won't be flat on the surface, whereas in the previous shape it was a quadrangle, so the light will fall flat on all the objects. Whereas with the cylinder, you may not get a flat lighting. Look at that, it may not get too much of flat lighting everywhere on the scene, because the cylinder itself has light intensities varies from the one edge to the other edge. Okay, so you will get a smooth shading of lighting there. Rotating the cylinder light will not make any big impacts, but rotating in this angle around the y-axis could make impact. Okay, so you guys could use that. Okay. As of now, right? Now the next thing is, I'll tell you something. Now, so look at this light. This light's name is front light. So the front light is emitting light, uh, which is 1.5. I think I can bring it down a little. I can bring this intensity to one intensity. Then I select the fill light. I bring the intensity to 1, the sides, and I can select this one. I could bring down the intensity to 1. Then you can select this light, and you can bring down the exposure. If you think there is too much of exposure, you can bring down it. Okay, it's up to you. It's up to your wish. So if you want to reduce the exposure of that light, you can do that also. Not too much. We are going to reduce, but little. Now look at this light. It's emitting lights which are too much reflection there. You could see that. There's too much reflection on the sides of this car because of the light. So now at the top light, the top key light, it has yeah, I have to name this as a key light because KEYLIGHT. This is a key light. It has 1.4 and exposure is good. And scroll down for this top light, I need shadow because this is the key light. I need shadow for this. So scroll down and enable your cast shadows and cast volumetric shadows. So this light will be emitting the shadows here. So when you move the light much closer, yeah, that'll be different. Now this inside. Look at that. You move the light much closer, different kind of lighting. Anyway, I don't want you to have too much of lighting for the scene, so it's fine. Okay, up to this, I hope you guys don't have any doubt, right? So let's continue further. This is okay. You have any questions for me? Because this is for the next assignment, so I want you guys to learn it proper. So when you guys have submission date for the next assignment? Yeah, listening.
Just a minute, I'll check it.
26.
22, sir.
26. 26, no.
22.
Yeah, it's 22. Great. Okay. So now look at this light. This light is the front light to the front side, right? But what if I just want to bring the intensity down to 0 to see how much impact it is making. This making a huge impact. Let's undo this. Redo, undo. I'm just checking how much light energy it's emitting, and it is giving a good contribution of light throughout the scene. And look at this area, which is receiving light from the top. Okay, so if I move this light a little down, because I don't want light here, which is not good. So I want to move this object a little towards that side. Okay, fine, it's okay. Just rotate this a little bit. Maybe I can just switch this to quadrangle. That seems much perfect. For the front part of the chassis, I need few lighting, but not too much. So I think I go with this one. This is fine with me. Okay, it's up to you guys. You guys can just navigate and find out which one of lighting suits you, suits your car. Fine, you can go with that. You can rotate the lighting also to avoid the lighting, to avoid too much of lighting falls on the chassis. Then you could rotate the light also. Okay. Anyway, my guess it's fine with me. But if I don't want, for example, if I don't want this light to fall, if you don't want this key light to fall on the chassis here, you can click here and or you can click here. Yeah, now you could see this object's name is fender EL shape. You see that above the tire? Now the light which I don't want to fall on this is key light. So select this. You named it as key light first. Yeah, I named it key light. Now this in this on this fender, I don't want that key light. So I go to my Windows relationship editors and I have light linking. And under light linking, we have object centric. We have object centric and light centric. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable that light's energy to fall on this. So I don't want that light's emission to fall on the 3D object. So now I'm going to disable that light for this object. So I'm going to object centric because I'm going to focus the object now and I'm going to disable the light. So object centric. Now I have this object here. Its name is fender FL shape. If you don't know where it is, just select this object, go to relationship editor, and you can see the card here. You can press F or go inside. We have, I think it's not working. I should select this. So fender FL shape. So this one fender FL front light, and let me check in the outliner where this is. So in the outliner, I just select this. Then in the outliner, I just press F. I could see that is a fender FL. I think I was missing that. Yeah, before door front FL, this is a fender FL. So for this fender FL, yeah, it is here, fender front light. So for this object, I don't want this. I don't want the light of the area light. I mean, sorry, the key light. So in our case, the key light was the last light we created. So the name is not shown here. So anyway, I just go with disable area light 4. You see that now? This object is not receiving that light anymore. You click again. Now this object is receiving that light. Yeah, you see that? So that's one good one. Now if I select the area light 3, that's it. In area light 2, I can disable. Area light 1, I can disable. So similarly, you can disable and you can enable the light from any object to this objects. Okay, I'm just showing you this as an option. So if you wish, you can use that. And if you don't want for this object, you can directly select on the screen here. So this is now, this object is hood. So if you don't want light for the hood, select the hood and disable the light for the hood. Now look at that. Now the light from the top is not falling on the hood. That looks clean and neat anyway. And also that looks like a 2D feel you may get. So like this, you can disable and enable the lighting to not fall on the object. Yeah, that's it.